Authorities in South Korea seek arrest warrant for impeach President Yoon. Authorities plan to question Yoon on allegations of abuse of authority and orchestrating a rebellion after his short-lived declaration of martial law. South Korean law enforcement officials have requested a court warrant to arrest impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol as they investigate whether his short-lived martial law decree amounted to rebellion. The Corruption Investigation Office for High-Ranking Officials, which is leading a joint investigation with police and military authorities into the power grab that lasted only a few hours on December 3rd, confirmed it requested the warrant from a Seoul court. They plan to question Yoon on allegations of abuse of authority and orchestrating a rebellion. Joe Biden pays tribute to remarkable leader and dear friend Jimmy Carter. As it happened, Jimmy Carter, former U.S. president and rights advocate, dies at 100. Jimmy Carter, the 39th President of the United States, a broker of peace in the Middle East in his time, and a tireless advocate for global health and human rights, has died. It was announced Sunday. He was 100 years old. A Georgia Democrat, Carter was the longest-lived president in U.S. history. He only served one term in the White House and was soundly beaten by Ronald Reagan in 1981. But Carter spent the decades afterward focused on international relations and human rights, efforts that won him the Nobel Peace Prize in 2002. The policies of the next U.S. administration could have profound consequences for the future of the climate, the wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, and the global economy. Our rigorous, fact-based independent journalism will hold those in power to account and interrogate the human impact of the decisions made in the White House, that we don't have a billionaire proprietor worried about the impact of upsetting Trump on their bottom line. We have something even more powerful on our side. We've got you. The Guardian is funded by readers like you in Bangladesh, and the only person who decides what we publish is our editor. Please choose to support us today. It only takes a minute, and you can cancel at any time. Thank you. Members of the Carter Protective Division of the U.S. Secret Service are in mourning tonight as agents privately share stories in person and in group messages of the agency's work guarding the former president and his family for nearly half a century. CNN reports that we've been planning for today, said the official, but it's still a gut punch. While in office and beyond, the Secret Service has maintained a protective detail for the Carter family based in Georgia. That we're not finished, said the official, noting the Secret Service was working with the Defense Department to plan for Carter's expected return to Washington, D.C., for a memorial service and his final resting back in Georgia. Dozens and dozens of agents had the honor of a lifetime to serve the Carters, the official said. We're coming to grips with the fact this era is now ending. Tributes to Jimmy Carter have rolled in since his family announced the former president's death earlier today. Among them are charities and non-governmental organizations that Carter supported and worked closely with, including Habitat for Humanity and Human Rights Watch. A statement by Habitat for Humanity thanked Carter and noted that he had helped families build and repair homes, shone a light on the tremendous global need for decent and affordable shelter, and brought hope and opportunity to communities around the world. Human Rights Watch issued a tribute video and said Carter offered a powerful example for world leaders to make human rights a priority, and he continued to fight for human rights after he left office. Jimmy Carter's Presidential Commission on the Holocaust laid the groundwork for the creation of the U.S. Holocaust Memorial Museum, recommending the establishment of the museum. Out of our memory and understanding, we must forge an unshakable oath with all civilized people that never again will the world stand silent. We mourn the passing of President Jimmy Carter, whose Presidential Commission recommended establishing our museum. The museum wrote on X that many of the tributes flowing and make reference to the long and remarkable partnership the former president shared with his late wife Rosalind, who died in November last year. Age 96, she is remembered for being one of the most politically active first ladies and having played a significant part in her husband Jimmy's political career, from his election to the Georgia Senate in 1962 to his presidential victory in 1976. Memorably, she arrived in Washington with the comment that it would be a shame not to take advantage of that power. Hakeem Jeffries, the congressman from New York and leader of the Democrats in the U.S. House, said, "We mourn the loss of a great man, role model and humanitarian in President Jimmy Carter. From a peanut farmer to President of the United States, his incredible life, legacy, and leadership are a testament to the power of the American dream. More than most anyone in modern political history, President and Rosalind Carter embodied the spirit of James 2 verses 14 to 17, that faith without works is dead. President Carter's faith guided him to be a powerful voice for peace everywhere. Whether as a Sunday school teacher or a champion for human rights on the global stage, President Carter lived out his belief that all people are equal in the eyes of God. In the 40 years since he left the Oval Office, President Carter dedicated countless hours to serving our world's most vulnerable populations. As an elections monitor, he strengthened democracy around the globe, and as a prolific volunteer for Habitat for Humanity, he helped build over 4,000 homes on 4 continents. His life's commitment to humility, kindness, and service to others will continue to be a North Star for future generations of public servants. President Carter will be deeply missed by all, though we can be heartened that he and his beloved Rosalind are once again reunited. May their lifelong love and faith be a small comfort to President Carter's family and all those who loved him. Katrina Vanden Heuvel, editor and publisher of The Nation and a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, has written a piece for The Guardian on the passing of Carter. Tributes have invariably described Carter as a decent, dedicated public servant, a longtime Sunday school teacher who built homes with Habitat for Humanity, a humble man who lived modestly and who, unlike his successors, did not enrich himself on the speaker circuit. But this narrative belies the quietly radical approach Carter took to the post-presidency. By fiercely advocating for peace and playing an active and transpartisan role in international diplomacy, Carter set a venerable standard for how politicians can serve the public long after leaving office. He did more to advocate for peace as an ex-president than most politicians do in the entirety of their careers. Across the entirety of his career, we should remember his fearlessness in the cause of peace and his faith in the democratic institutions he fought to protect. As he himself said, "We take peace not as a dormant situation, but as one to be fought for, like winning an armed conflict." The best way to honor Carter's legacy would be to wage peace for as long as we can, everywhere in the world. With everything we've got, Cubans will remember Jimmy Carter with gratitude. The island's leader Miguel Díaz-Canel has said, as condolences continued to pour in for the former U.S. president. During his presidency, Carter made moves to normalize diplomatic ties and relax U.S. sanctions on the country, and our people will remember with gratitude his efforts to improve relations. Díaz-Canel said on Sunday. The Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Mike Johnson, the Republican congressman from Louisiana, has sent his condolences today. The thoughts of Americans and the prayers of Congress are lifted up on behalf of the Carter family. He said. His statement continues, President Carter's story was one of humble beginnings, and his life is a testament to the boundless opportunities available in this great nation. Because of his work in brokering the Camp David Accords and his advocacy with Habitat for Humanity, the world is a more peaceful place, and more Americans have a place to call home. No one can deny that President Carter led an extraordinary life of service to his country. May he rest in peace. Panama's President, José Raúl Mulino, has sent condolences and also remarked that, as president, Carter orchestrated the transfer of control of the Panama Canal from the U.S. to Panama. This led to a significant easing of political resentment towards the U.S. and the region. Mulino says, "I offer my condolences to the family and to the people and government of the United States on the death of former President Jimmy Carter. His stint in the White House was marked by difficult times and were crucial for Panama in negotiating and signing the Torrijos-Carter treaties in 1977, which transferred the Panama Canal into Panamanian hands and made our country truly sovereign. May his soul rest in peace." The outgoing U.S. Senate Minority Leader, Mitch McConnell, is among several prominent Republicans praising Carter, the late former Democratic U.S. president. McConnell has issued a statement on behalf of himself and his wife. Elaine.it says, "Elaine and I joined the Senate and the nation in mourning the passing of our 39th president, Jimmy Carter. President Carter served during times of tension and uncertainty, both at home and abroad, but his calm spirit and deep faith seemed unshakable. Jimmy Carter served as our commander-in-chief for 4 years, but he served as the beloved, unassuming Sunday school teacher at Maranatha Baptist Church in Plains, Georgia for 40. And his humble devotion leaves us little doubt which of those two important roles he prized the most,